Recently, I stumbled across a video titled SMG4, Why Change is Good, on an SMG4 Discord server. Normally, good quality SMG4 commentary videos have a significant pro-classic slant, so something like this pro-modern video immediately caught my eye. Looking at the quality of the thumbnail and the style of the video from the first minute, I was expecting the content of the arguments to match. I was expecting a well-thought-out explanation of how recent changes to Modern have contributed to its growth. Instead, I got a fluffed-up, poorly written, and unsubstantiated babble from Creative Planet Entertainment. This video warrants nothing less than a merciless debunking, and I hope that my response will also put away the whole change is good defense of Modern SMG4 for good. Get ready for Creative Planet Entertainment to be destroyed by facts and logic. The meat and potatoes of Creative Planet Entertainment's argument goes something like this.
Why are they so against a more structured format that, for the most part, maintains the same stuff? Well, I think it's a classic example of people being afraid of change. They only want what's familiar and comfortable. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with having comfort content or focusing on familiar stuff from time to time, but here's the hard truth. Without stepping out of your comfort zone, you won't be able to grow as a person.
Creative Planet Entertainment claims that change is necessary for growth. Therefore, change is a good thing. Because classic fans are of the opinion, in his view, that change is a bad thing, they are in the wrong. It is true that a lot of classic fans do not take kindly to change, but to insinuate that all classic fans simply do not accept change is a dishonest strawman. I, as a classic fan, do not have a problem with arcs, character development, or even a diminished focus on humor in favor of storytelling. But Creative Planet Entertainment must necessarily lump me in with those who actually do not accept change, as he is using this change argument to discredit the classic fan position as a whole. Thus, it must be a silver bullet against all classic fans, or the classic fan position is not adequately refuted. More importantly, Creative Planet Entertainment fails to substantiate their assumption that change, or more specifically, the change to the SMG4 series entailed by Modern SMG4 is good. The closest they get to doing this is a minute-long spiel about how Luke and Kevin decided to do something new with Glitch Productions, and how that led to great shows, and I guess we're supposed to connect the dots that the same thing happened to SMG4?
I think Luke and Kevin and SMG4 recognized this at some point in their lives. They had a lot of fun making nerd Mario stuff, but one day just decided we need to make something that's us. So they slowly but surely started improving their craft with some newer and original ideas. With some hard work and dedication, this eventually led to the masterpiece that is Meta Runner. And they didn't stop there. They moved on and created another hit series called Murder Drones. And they didn't even stop there. They also created the amazing Digital Circus, which also became a hit. These guys overall are just killing it, seriously going places, and I couldn't be happier for them. Now, can you imagine if this didn't happen? Imagine if these two just went, nah, we're just gonna keep doing Goofy Mario stuff. We wouldn't have Meta Runner, or Murder Drones, or Digital Circus, and they would never take the opportunity to expand their craft and create new things. They would just be stuck in their little comfort zone doing the same thing for years to come.
The failure of Creative Planet Entertainment to defend its assertion whatsoever strongly suggests that the premise of his argument is flawed. Change, in and of itself, is not necessarily a good thing. Take Jimmy here. He has $100 in his bank account. Now, Jimmy wins a bet of $10 with his friend John, and deposits it into his bank account. Clearly, a change has happened here, and basically everyone would agree that getting $10 richer is a good change. Now, suppose that Jimmy loses this bet, and has to withdraw $10 from his bank account to pay John. Basically everyone would agree that getting $10 poorer is a bad change. Notice how both outcomes lead to a change. But the knowledge that Jimmy's bank account has changed balance is not enough to determine if the change was positive or not. It is the context that matters. And it is the context that should be evaluated for changes that happen to SMG4 to determine if Modern SMG4 is good or not. So what does Modern SMG4 have going for it? One thing that's changed a lot is the songwriting in SMG4. Creative Planet Entertainment even gives Saikosis as an example of how Modern SMG4 excels where classic SMG4 falters.
I mean, look, everyone is entitled to enjoy the old SMG4 content, but in no universe is anyone gonna convince me that this is better than this.
As the sun sets down, let shadows grow. But remember, don't let go. The reflections must not fade away. The path that never strayed.
Actually, I can, because Saikosis is objectively shit. This is what Saikosis sounds like.
It's all in silence, has no end. Moralities that break and bend. As I try to split these chains, what left of me remains. Oh, the sweet melody of anarchy. As the sun sets down, the shadows grow. But remember, don't let go.
Now compare this to how WOTFI 2016, a classic SMG4 song, sounds like.
Mario can help you from being a pathetic little nerd, but you know what they say, you can't polish a turd. You look like a dragon, but you can't even fly.
The person who made you must have been really frickin' high.
Now, which of these songs are more sophisticated? Sure, the diction in Saikosis is far more complex than that of WOTFI 2016, but the lyrics just fall apart once examined. The only coherent thing about Saikosis is a shallow, edgy vibe, and nothing else really strings together. Contrast that with WOTFI 2016, which despite using far simpler language, has great use of literary schemes and tropes such as irony and analogy. It also uses subversion to create effective roasts for Mario, SMG4, and Bowser. Undoubtedly, WOTFI 2016 is leagues more sophisticated than Saikosis. Saikosis is not a hallmark of sophistication. It is a childish song feigning the appearance of sophistication. This charade of sophistication is not limited just to Saikosis. It infects modern SMG4 in its entirety. Take SMG4's Cosmology arcs. They put up a charade of being super deep and substantial, but are they really? Is introducing the meme life cycle, then introducing meme powers, while forgetting the life cycle entirely until the end of the arc deep and substantial? Is Zero's consistently inconsistent and retarded planning deep and substantial? Is forcing in a romantic side plot that serves no purpose but to add cheap shock value at the end of the Genesis arc deep and substantial? No, no, and no! I have no problems with arcs. In fact, I quite enjoyed the Waluigi arc, the Rapper Bob arc, and most of the anime arc. The issue I have is not that the series is changing, it's that the quality of writing has objectively declined since 2019. Context is what should be evaluated here, not that there is change itself. Another thing that has objectively declined is the character variety, in spite of what Creative Planet Entertainment calls
A nice mix of pre-existing characters and original characters.
really is
A nice mix of pre-existing characters and original characters.
the right way to describe the current state of SMG4 episodes, which confine themselves to hyperfixating on 2 or 3 main characters most of the time, is
A nice mix of pre-existing characters and original characters.
the right way to describe minor characters such as Tari and Melody being sidelined in favor of a more heavy emphasis on the major characters, is
A nice mix of pre-existing characters and original characters.
the right way to describe Mario basically being the only Nintendo character to be in the new SMG4 episodes most of the time, with the rest filled with OC main characters. No, no, and no! In spite of the fact that Classic had a far smaller cast than Modern, Classic gave far more spotlight to its minor characters, whereas Modern can't even be bothered to remember that most of its cast exists outside of special episodes. If change is automatically good, is an increasingly bland and diminished palette of characters also good? Again, it is the context that matters, and it is the context that should be evaluated. Even the humor has not remained untouched by the decline of modern SMG4. Creative Planet Entertainment may claim
The wacky humor's still there, but there's also some improved jokes that land a little better.
land better for who? In the example of a classic SMG4 video they give, Freddy Spaghetteria, the humor is crass, fine. But there's more to it than just that. There is actually a brilliant subversion of the premise of Five Nights at Freddy's, where rather than the player, Mario, trying to avoid the animatronics at all costs, the player, Mario, becomes the hunter, and the animatronics run away from Mario for dear life. Sure, middle schoolers will be attracted to the video by virtue of SMG4 saying the fuck word a couple times, but this kind of humor can also appeal to older demographics. Contrast that to modern SMG4.
The Rizzler.
Oh, I've seen stuff like this online!
Skibbity get Ohio Rizzler Phantom Tax.
This would not be very funny to most people except for those in Generation Alpha. Modern SMG4 also makes far poorer use of actual subversion and literary devices in its humor than Classic, meaning that older generations will be unable to enjoy its humor. If change is automatically good, is SMG4's humor increasingly becoming out of touch with everyone except its middle schooler cohort also good? I repeat, it is the context that matters, and it is the context that should be evaluated.
The N64 Mario is still there, but it's intermixed with some nice GMod animation.
Intermixed? More like all of it is GMod. Sure, some might enjoy the GMod style more, but the SM64 is part of what made Classic so lively, and why Modern has a lifeless aesthetic to a degree. This is because SM64 characters have idle animations, whereas GMod ragdolls do not.
And even some of the recurring characters got original makeovers, while still maintaining their overall feel.
Maintaining their overall feel? No! The Lawsuit Arc redesigns do not maintain the feel of the former Nintendo-based OCs whatsoever. I mean, just look at this picture! It speaks for itself!
I'm not implying that this style of videos is bad per se, but there's only so much you can do using the N64 Mario model acts crazy and does goofy things style of videos.
The SM64 style isn't nearly as limiting as Creative Planet Entertainment makes it out to be. Luigi Fan has made a phenomenal series with great storytelling and humor with plushies, which is a far more limiting style than SM64 Machinima. SM64 Machinima also has the benefit of looking more lively than the low-budget animation style SMG4 uses now, which has a tonal dissonance that the Machinima style simply does not. I'm also unimpressed with the quality of script writing for Creative Planet Entertainment's video. I didn't get to the essence of their argument until halfway into the video because they spent way too long to state their position on the classic versus modern SMG4 issue, and then they spent a quarter of the video going on irrelevant tangents about Glitch in two different sections. This is not what good writing is, and for anyone who plans to make SMG4 commentary videos in the future, I recommend that you get to the point straight away. Creative Planet Entertainment's argument hinges on the assumption that change is a good in and of itself. However, they did not defend this assumption at all. In fact, it just so happens to be the case that for SMG4, the inverse is provably true, meaning that the classic fans are closer to the truth than the modern fans. However, there is a point to Creative Planet Entertainment's video. Some classic fans assume that everyone is on the same wavelength as themselves, and think that people on the other side of the aisle see the same things they do. Again, it is the context that matters, and if you are a classic fan, you should contextualize these changes and demonstrate how they are affecting SMG4 for the worse. Fortunately, what I have discussed in this video will serve as a great starting point to do just that. As for the modern fans who use this accepting change argument, you guys really need to do your homework. Recently, I've seen some modern fans use this argument a lot more on r/SMG4, but this argument is only marginally better than the SMG4 is SMG4 argument, so still inadequate. Regardless of what side of the classic versus modern SMG4 debate you are on, I hope you found this video instructive. And if you did, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and checking out my Machinima content. This is Chaos64, signing off.